What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Deep in the Plus. This is the place where we go into the Disney catalog. We find a movie or a TV show. We give you the trivia, the history, and we give you our opinions about it and tell you if it's worth your time. Thank you for joining us tonight. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We are going to be talking about High School Musical, and the man who is going to be talking about it with me insists on an introduction, and not only that, but he insists on his own chant to welcome him in. So tonight, one team. What team?
Wildcats.
What team?
Wildcats.
Patrick Hackett, everyone.
Woo.
We are so excited. We are more excited than we should be about this.
There is no level of excitement that I could actually match my enjoyment of not only this movie, but the series as a whole. And honestly, DCOM musicals as a whole.
Yes. So DCOM meaning, by the way, this one feels like this is the mother of all DCOMs, right?
I think it started the next wave.
Yeah. So DCOM is, I used to think it meant like a Disney comedy, like a sitcom is a situational comedy. I thought it was a Disney comedy, but it is a Disney Channel original movie, which is how this started. 15 years ago, by the way, we picked the 15-year anniversary. 15 years ago in January, this one debuted, and you know, it started a lot of trends. There's a lot of great music that we can't play, so we won't be playing that. And then there's a lot of clips and things like that. We could give you the rundown of the plot. There's not much of one. There's really not. But it's a really fun movie. So today, I just want to share this. I posted this meme that I built on my Instagram account. Just because I can't get this, I can't get this out of my head. It feels like it makes sense. Replacing
amazing.
the hang glider with the Wildcat logo up there. I had to do that. So, talking about High School Musical, when I said to you, let's do something fun, you're the one that suggested High School Musical. Tell me why.
Absolutely. I think it's because I was entirely too old to enjoy this film when it came out. So 25 years ago, or excuse me, 15 years ago, that make me 24, 25. And I loved it in secret for a long time, you know, toxic masculinity, but I am open and honest about my love for the Wildcats and all things High School Musical. I checked out the series for a little bit. It was pretty good. I fell off it kind of quickly, but it became such a cultural zeitgeist. Like, it's so important to talk about right now.
Yeah, true. So here's my theory on High School Musical is it feels like a remake of Grease, the musical, which feels like a warped version of West Side Story, which feels like it was off of Romeo and Juliet. So this is like, it feels like it kind of like gets watered down from generation to generation. But in this movie, Troy and Gabriella are stars. They meet at a lodge and over New Year's. Yep. In the movie Grease, Sandy and Danny meet at like a summer place, but then it's the same thing where they both end up finding out that they're both at the same school. Difference is in Grease, Danny's like, I'm a little embarrassed because I've been talking up this girl and everything we did, so I'm not really gonna like excited about seeing her and like looking bad in front of my guys. Troy, not so much. He's excited that Gabriella is in the school. And do you remember why she's in the school?
Her mom's company transferred her to Albuquerque, and she made them promise, because that's how it works, that they wouldn't have her move until Gabriella is done with school. Yes,
exactly. That was way accurate. I don't know if it's just because you just saw it or what.
I did. Yeah. Our tradition is on the night before Deep in the Plus, my wife and I watch the movie, and it is amazing to watch it together. It helps us bond. It's really great.
So are you saying you're all in this together?
We are all in this together. Okay. And she made me promise that I would say at the beginning of the pandemic, she wrote like a big message out to her company. She's a bigwig. She's way more important than me. And for the longest time, the company has kept passing this memo around, and she included at the end, we're all in this together.
I mean,
I got really lucky.
Yeah, no, that's goosebumps, man. So let's talk about this. So Troy and Gabriella get thrown in together for a karaoke. Apparently this lounge or whatever has spotlights on it. They put a spotlight on Troy, a spotlight on Gabriella. They're like, "Come on up here, guys, to sing this song together." And it wasn't Funky Town, and it wasn't YMCA.
This is a big problem for me. It's the one thing about a musical that it took me out of the musical, because if a number spontaneously starts and people start singing, that's because it's a musical. But you just put two people on stage. Is this the pop song? Like, is this something that's on the radio? How do they know this? How do they know the harmonies? It makes no sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's why I said it that way. I mean, it's like, how do they know this song? And you know, this is what starts the whole thing. You find out that they can both sing. In theory, we could talk about that after a while, whether they both can sing. But this is one of those where you know, you're like suspension of disbelief all the way through this movie.
Yeah.
You've got to do that. You got to take yourself out of it, right? So
Yeah.
In this one, they're at this lodge. They do this number together, and then they kind of fall in like with each other, and then they go off to the school. They're in East High, right? And they're
East
in
Albuquerque,
East High.
I would assume.
Yeah, but actually, Salt Lake City, I believe, is where the school is, right? Or in somewhere around there.
I don't remember. Yeah.
So Troy is a basketball player. Apparently, Gabriella is a little bit of a bookworm. You know, poor these guys, the troubles they have, right? I mean, it's like, everybody knows me as this really talented jock, but I can also sing, so don't put me in a box. And then, you know, she actually says this to her mom. She's like, I don't want to be the smart, nerdy girl. And I'm like, she doesn't even have that thing where you like the librarian thing where like they take off the glasses and fluff up the hair. And, like,
you never get the
already,
she's all that moment. She's just a beautiful young woman from the start.
Yeah. And in Greece they have the makeover. Like she doesn't need a makeover. She already fits in with all the kids. So again, I feel like it gets a little bit more watered down as they go from generation to generation. But they do their karaoke number, then they meet at the school, and this is the nicest high school I've ever seen in my entire life, by the way.
It's huge. It's absolutely massive.
Yeah. And they do all this is where they have all the main scenes and things in the high school. But right from the get-go, they show that there's division in this high school. Like, you know, the stereotypical, these are the smart people, you know, the bookworms, these are the jocks, these are the skaters, and, you know, everybody's got their own pocket, and it's over the top, right?
Even for like a high school movie, it's way, way over the top. And even having some of the skater kids kind of play into a stoner stereotype, I'm like, what are you doing, Disney? It's too much.
Yeah. And then they find out that here's the next thing. And I'm not going to go through point by point of this movie because there's too much other cool stuff to talk about. But it bothers me that they're in Darbus's class, Mrs. Darbus, who I have lots of issues with, and I'll get to that later.
Oh, tons.
Mrs. Darbus is in the class. Is this homeroom? Because I feel like she's not really taking role, but it's like the bell rings and then it rings again. So I guess it's homeroom, but it's a short period of class, but it's long enough for her to give half the class detention on day one back.
It's definitely homeroom. Definitely homeroom. Okay. And it seemed like they were waiting for announcements and everybody's phone got confiscated, which I just watched the movie Moxie, and they had a little thing at the door of the high school where the kids came in and put their cell phone in a pocket. I was like, oh, that's really cool. That kind of shows where we've advanced to in 2021 versus 2002.
Yeah. I wanted to have a little bucket here and do like a bit where I played a ringtone and then like held the bucket up and you had to put your phone in it through the screens. It was going to be hilarious. So everybody just imagine that happened and it was funny.
No, we totally did that.
Yeah.
Before you guys got here.
She's talking about while she's in there, she's basically like hawking her winter musicale. Again, way over the top, Mrs. Darbus. Ms. Darbus? Is it Miss Darbus?
Mrs.? I think it's Mrs.
Is it Mrs.?
I think it's Mrs.
All right. So she's talking about the winter musicale, and that's coming up, and everybody's got to sign up for it.
Ms. Darbus.
Is it Ms.?
Ms.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, good. I was worried about that. So you know, she's got this class, and Troy is like, he's like the golden child of the school. And you know, she just doesn't like that. She's trying to keep him in check, which I think is why she puts him into detention so quickly. But I mean, he's got basketball, snowboarding, singing. I mean, is Troy Bolton the whole package?
I don't know. I really don't know. There's part of me that thinks, especially as the series goes on, that Troy's kind of skating by on reputation, and he might not be that good at any given thing.
Okay.
Clearly, Chad should be the captain of the basketball team. He's the one that's always firing everybody up. I think he's the true leader.
Basketball team. What team?
Wildcats.
Okay. So yeah, no, I get that. There's you know, here's the next thing about Troy and his basketball career. He is the captain of the team, as you said. His dad is the coach. Conflict of interest.
Icky.
I mean,
Icky.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's tons of people in the chat who can talk about their own small town upbringing that saw exactly that happen. You know, small town politics, nothing like it.
It feels bad. So one of the other things about this is, you mentioned it before, like the music, how it kind of, you have a suspension of disbelief because they're what I would classify as showstoppers, right? Like everything stops and everyone's in that moment, and then nobody acknowledges the fact that they just did a well choreographed, well harmonized musical number, which makes it a musical, right? That's what that is. There are, in contrast though, and we can talk about the spinoff show later. The contrast is really kind of like more like Glee, where everything's situational. They're singing because they're in drama class. They're singing because they're on Instagram, whatever. I mean, it feels like it's all situational as opposed to these showstoppers, which I think is a weird choice that they would flip for the spinoff. But because of that, each of these songs is huge because it stops everything else and you focus on the song, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're playing it tongue-in-cheek there, though. I'm wondering if the kind of ignoring the situation is kind of a wink to the audience. By the way, I should never wink again. I saw that. That was terrible.
Did you?
It made me uncomfortable.
Okay. All right. That's fine. So then the other thing I noticed about this movie is that because it was originally for Disney Channel, it has those fade in and outs like commercial breaks, which I forget about because this was such a phenomenon and had spinoffs that it feels like it was always a movie unto itself, but it has these like weird breaks.
Did you notice the title cards on a couple scenes, like Darbus's detention, and there was like another one later on? I never noticed that before. It's amazing when you just stop and take a critical look at art that you're used to seeing all the time, and suddenly you're noticing different things.
Yeah. There's the one scene near the end where it's like, this is the day for callbacks and the day for this, and then it says help, you know, so again, sort of tongue in cheek. So this movie is called, oh, by the way, commercials. Let's talk about that for a second. Disney Channel always had commercials, but they were only commercials for other Disney Channel shows. Why did they need commercials?
I don't know. Maybe it was because they wanted to hire, usual TV writers, and so that's how they're used to scripting a show. I remember in the later years, like recently, they started having some sponsorship for programs and some lighter advertising. But yeah, it was always weird. Disney Channel's a weird thing when you go back to it. You think, when I was growing up, sometimes you got it for free, and if your friend had Disney Channel, it was amazing.
Ah, the good old days. Yeah. Okay. So this is called High School Musical. Could they have done a better name?
No. I think that's the perfect name. Because when I look at this...
the High School Musical, not a High School Musical, just High School Musical. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's the perfect name, and I think that this hangs on because there's part of this that is a send-up of the genre. It is not just a straightforward movie. It's also a bit of tongue-in-cheek, poking fun at musicals. And I think that title is perfect. I think just like when you get to what eventually becomes Teen Beach Movie, which is also a love letter and a send-up of those beach blanket bingo style movies.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to stop for a second, and I'm going to hit you up with a couple trivia questions.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and please play along in the chat. We would love that. Since this is a live show right now, we would love for you to play along with us. So this should be an easy one for you. Don't want you looking this up, man. You ready?
Yep.
What jersey number is Troy Bolton?
14.
Boom. Right off the bat, you did that one.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. Very impressive. Okay. We didn't even give people time in the chat to come up with an answer. No, you just did that one.
Yeah, final answer. Do I have to say final answer? I feel like I should.
Yeah. Jordan is in chat going, let's do this thing. Jordan's been excited for this all day. So we're going to give, Emma jumped in 14. Jordan said 14. And we have a little bit of lag. That's fine. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this question, the next one. And you're going to pause because we want to give people a chance, okay? So
I'm still here.
The whole, like I said, there's not much of a plot, but but the main plot, I guess, would be that there's this fight to be the stars of the musical, and I do have a question or two about that as well, because the two groups that are vying for it are Sharpay and Ryan, who are brother and sister.
Little Cersei, Jaime Lannister feeling at times.
Yeah, exactly. We got to address that in a second. And then then you've got Troy and Gabriella, and so they're all trying out for the Winter Musicale. What parts are they trying out for?
They have names?
You don't know. Okay, let's see.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see if the people in the chat know.
Man, I had no idea.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I'm not. The funniest thing is that my wife turns to me about midway through the movie, and she's like, "We never do see this musical, do we?"
Yeah. So, by the way, Jordan said Diffendals in response to the whole Ryan and Sharpay thing, but.
Minnie and Arnold? Is Emma right?
I'm not seeing any answers yet. So here you go. It's Arnold and Minnie.
Yeah, Emma said it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Arnold and Minnie.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
For the musical Twinkle Town.
Why, Emma? Why do you know that? That's very strange. You need to tell me at some point why you know that. This was just stuff that I found in the movie. I was like, why would anybody ever know that? Okay.
How did you know that? Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, well, it's because when they're doing the casting, Ryan reads the whole thing out loud. It's like he's reading down the list, and he's like callbacks, and he's going down the list. So,
I had a theory that Ryan was illiterate because of the scene where they say "go drama," and he was "God Rama." I was like, can Ryan read? I love Ryan.
You're like, did I miss that before? All right, so there are a bunch of random characters in this, and some of them are the main characters, and some of them are background characters that are horribly... Like, why couldn't the background actors, and no offense to you if you were a background actor in this, but why couldn't they have been better? Because a lot of them seemed like they weren't great.
I think they were singers and dancers. I don't think they were there for acting. I think they were there because they can dance. Because if you look at the final scene... being as somebody, so my college, not high school, I was in a clique myself because I was a cheerleader, and when you are without rhythm, as myself, you get put in the back, and there's at one point in the final scene, all of the dancers are in front, and then the cast is right behind them. So I think they were there to like spruce up the singing and dancing.
Gotcha. All right, you ready? Here's the trivia.
Yeah, here we go.
Here's your question. So they've got the main core characters and you've got the no-name characters, but there are a couple fringe named characters. What is the name of the guy who decides he likes to bake?
Zeke.
Why would you know that?
I watched it. I remembered his name. He's one of my favorite characters.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, how many spin-off movies, how many total movies are there in this franchise?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, you don't count the series because it's a movie.
Right.
It's not a movie. So you have
It's
the
not a movie.
three, and then you have Sharpay has one on her own, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, or something along those lines. So 4?
Yes, I thought for sure I was going to stump you on that because I did not think you would call this one. I had it ready, yes, so there were 4. I really thought you were
Which
not going to remember that one.
Ryan gets treated even worse in that one. Poor Ryan, man.
Yeah. Okay, that concludes our portion of this. That is the trivia question. Thank you guys for playing along. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's this movie in general is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we talked about there being a lot of really good music in this. I have a least favorite song in this, one that I kind of hate. And I don't know if I'm supposed to hate it on purpose. So if you are thinking the same song I'm thinking, maybe you were supposed to hate it.
So I'm thinking you hate the Sharpay breakdown that's like kind of at the end of like the everybody does things different than their clique. No? Is it Gabriella's song? I forgot Gabriella's song existed. And I was like, I do not remember this at all.
Now I could get added in chat here. Bop till you drop. Ugh.
Oh man.
No.
You are supposed to hate it. You are absolutely supposed to hate it, but it's awesome. It's better than them singing a love song together.
Okay. No, I will agree with that one. But yeah, there's a lot of good music on there, but that one for me, it's like, you know, if I'm listening to the CD, I'm skipping that one. Start of something new. You know, stick to the status quo. By the way,
status quo is a great one.
Yeah, and in that one they use the whole like auditorium or like the cafeteria or whatever they call that area. Which, by the way, South Park did an amazing spoof of this and used a scene that was just like that, where people broke out into song for no particular reason. If you haven't seen that and you're a huge fan of High School Musical, maybe you should watch it, but watch it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's that there is a scene in there though where this one girl goes, hip hop is my passion. I think if you love hip hop, you would never say hip hop is my passion, but that could just be me. I don't know.
Well, because she's supposed to be part of the intellectual crowd, so she would say it in an intellectual way.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. Obviously, classic song.
It's amazing. It's a good song.
Get Your Head in the Game is where they reinvent Stomp, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Stomp is brought to East High.
And it's really like, let's talk about Kenny Ortega and how talented that dude is. Like, he gets these ideas and he gets the most out of young people. He's a genuine star maker.
He's 71.
Is he really?
Yeah, I was blown away. So I did not realize he got his start as a choreographer in Xanadu, the Olivia Newton-John, which was after Grease. He did the choreography for some movies that must have just been dance scenes, like regular dance scenes. Sam Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Dirty Dancing. And then he did his first like directorial debut in 1992 with Newsies, which again, I mean, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, what a debut, huh?
Way ahead of its time, because it was not loved at the time, but is a cult classic. We did, Jill and I did a review of this one way back at the beginning of Deep in the Plus, so if you want to go check it out. Hocus Pocus, he directed as well. He did Tu Wong Fu. Choreography.
Really? I did not know that. Oh, choreography. I thought he directed that one.
No.
That's a seriously underrated movie.
High School Musical 3 senior year and Michael Jackson's This Is It, which, you know, Michael Jackson passed away during that, but that's a
really great documentary. I know that there's a lot of, you know, controversy around MJ and all that, but it's a great documentary.
Yeah. So he also did Cheetah Girls 2. I don't think he did Cheetah Girls 1. High School Musical 2, Bunheads, Descendants. Descendants trilogy, he executive produced, directed, and also choreographed. And then Julie and the Phantoms, which is currently a series on Netflix, which if you're a fan of Kenny Ortega, you should watch that. He is...
Oh, I've never even heard of it, so you introduced me to something. I will absolutely check that out.
Well, because we're only supposed to watch Disney Plus, right? I mean, that's why you don't know that one.
They have
So,
us locked in a small box. Tom feeds us slices of pizza and tells us when we have to do a show.
time for our pizza, right? By the way, just
Yeah.
saying. Um, so yeah, I just like let's go back to the soundtrack though, because there are a couple other
Yeah.
songs on here, like "Breaking Free." Is there are a couple of versions of that, and you hear it throughout the show. They finally have the big "Breaking Free" at the end. Um, what when there was "Me and You" is the Gabriella song, I think, that you were
Yeah.
talking about.
Completely forgot about it. Had no idea. My wife told me she remembered it because she has an absurd belt on, and she does in fact have an absurd belt on. It is a weird looking belt.
Start of Something New opens and closes the
Hmm.
soundtrack, so just so you get both of those. But yeah, I mean, the music is infectious. Like especially Soarin', Flyin', Breaking Free. I mean,
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
I've been doing that. It's been nuts. So out of the music, there's the music, there's the dance numbers, but then there's the absurd little things like the fact that like their basketball practice. I what that was weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, kind of, I guess you would say that like the interstitial, where they have these basketball practices that mostly break into song or involve Troy just shooting free throws by himself. Um, it really felt like there's not much movie in this movie. They had an idea and like, yeah, we're gonna string this together and get, what, 86 minutes. I don't know the runtime. Is it like 86 minutes?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Mm.
stringing this together. Okay. Um let me talk about the cast for a minute because
Yeah.
I feel like everyone else floated sunk to the bottom, but Zac Efron floated to the top, which is
Mm.
ironic because he is infamously known as not singing his own songs in this. Drew Seeley, who is a Canadian singer, was singing all of the songs for him in this. In doing some research and looking around, and I always knew that was the case, but in doing some research and looking around, I wonder according to the articles I've read, he thought he was going to be the singing voice of Troy when this
Oh,
happened.
really?
Yeah, and so it was kind of like a David Prowse. I think I'm going to be the speaking voice of Darth Vader kind of a situation.
Oh, yeah,
And
God.
there are times like in where he'll start a song slow and it's him, and then it turns into Drew Seeley when he's singing it. And then it said that he insisted on singing his own songs for High School Musical 2. Obviously, they knew that he could sing. Everyone else in this could sing. He went on to do Hairspray. Like that's what he was
Oh,
off
and he's
doing
great in
when
Hairspray.
yeah,
Yeah.
when High School Musical was a phenomenon, they did a tour called High School Musical
Yeah.
in concert, right?
Hmm.
And when that happened, Drew Seeley played Troy on the road for what they were doing, but they said that the reason Zac Efron couldn't go was because he was filming Hairspray at the time.
Yeah. He's had a couple of those. Like, he didn't come to the reunion for either the 10-year anniversary or the one that they did at the beginning of the pandemic for the 15-year. I do believe he was filming his Netflix special and he was filming Dirty Grandpa for the 10-year. His career has taken off, and honestly, I think I kind of like the dude that he's become. He's kind of transitioned from this bop, teen sweetheart to this real thoughtful guy. I mean, I think we looked it up, he's like 36 years old, 30 mid 30s. And his Netflix special is incredible. The dude's tremendously talented. I don't think he could dance in High School Musical 1. He does not seem to have rhythm. They might have put him through the ringer to get him ready for Hairspray in High School Musical 2.
Okay, so let's talk about the hair.
Mm-hmm.
Is this did he start a trend with this hair? Is this the Rachel of the '90s for guys? Like I feel
Is
like
he
he's
the
sort of
is? I mean, this is early 2000s, right?
oh, that's right, 2006. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it is because I think kind of everybody, like, if you look at, I'm going to say words that I probably shouldn't know, like Big Time Rush and, the Joe Bros back in the day, they all had that kind of swoopy hairstyle. Bieber when he first came out. So I
Yeah.
think he might have been the trendsetter. I can't time out all of that because the years between 2000 and like 2009 are all just kind of mushed together.
Yeah. Something else I wanted to say about the music before we move too far away from that and the
Yeah.
singing is that one of the writers of some of these songs, and they were not all written by the same people. So one of the writers who wrote a few of the songs or co-wrote a few of the songs was Robbie Neville, which I looked at
my
that
God.
and I went, that can't be the Robbie Neville from C'est La Vie, Robbie Neville, and or what is the other one? Like what you thinking or whatever. But
Isn't
he
he
is
one of the Neville brothers?
no.
No, different Neville. Got it.
Different Neville. Yeah, you're thinking like Aaron Neville.
Yeah.
Yeah, What's It To Ya was a 1986 song that he did. C'est La Vie was a 1986 song that he did. And I was like, that can't be the same guy. But I mean, the same thing happened with like Matthew Wilder when I looked him up at one point, because Matthew Wilder sang Nothing Gonna Break My Stride, but he also wrote the music for Mulan. Like, so it's interesting how these guys move from like the Danny Elfman Oingo Boingo to the Danny Elfman.
When I learned
Nightmare
that
Before
blew
Christmas.
me away, like that Danny Elfman was in Oingo Boingo.
Yeah, going to a dead man's party. That Robbie Neville tie-in was something that didn't ever occur to me that was a thing. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned reunion. There was a reunion for the Disney sing-along where they sang We're All in This Together, because it actually, like you mentioned before with your wife, it's apropos to the situation that we've been in, to the pandemic, and we're all in this together. And so, like, they all got together, and it was not just, it was brilliant because it was the cast of High School Musical and the cast of High School Musical, the series.
Yeah.
And a couple of other,
name.
like the Descendants cast as well, because Kenny Ortega introduced the whole thing. It was really well done. Again, for that one, Zac Efron wasn't a part of that.
He was supposed to be. They had a connection.
It was because
he just
he
couldn't keep.
bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think he was filming his Netflix show where he was all over, mostly Europe. I'm pretty sure Europe. And he did come back to California for like a water bar, which was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Seriously, watch that. I don't remember what it's called, but the Zac Efron special on Netflix is really wonderful.
Okay. So now let's talk about how Ms. Darbus is the worst. Just
is she
the
though?
worst? I mean,
everyone's kind of the worst. There's not who's the good person in maybe Gabriella, maybe Zeke. Zeke seems to be the most kind-hearted of anybody. He doesn't seem to ever want to harm anyone or do anything malicious. He kind of gets strung along. I know.
I was going to say he was involved in the whole situation with making Troy say all those things.
Yeah, that was something like bringing it to kind of the 2020 scope that just really was very cringe to me, especially when they were trying to set up the webcam. Oh, God.
Okay, so when they find out that there's a way to get them to move the tryouts or the callbacks, so this is Sharpay and Ryan get this great idea that they're going to move the callbacks so that it's during the time where the big game is on and the big mathlete decathlon or whatever it was.
Thinking bowl, yeah.
Yeah, so it's for some reason both of those are at the same time and in the same school. Parking must have been a nightmare, but they put all that together, and then they're like, oh, well, what if it was at the same time? And they go to Mrs. Darbus, and they're like, hey, we're going to move this to the same time. And she's like, well, if you as the drama leaders are telling me that that's what we should do. And I'm like, lady, come on. Like,
I can
how
defend
do they lift these two
Ms. Darbus
kids?
here a little bit. I can defend it. So
No.
now
No. Okay.
you saw me put on my cheerleader hat before. Now I can put on, I've been involved in professional wrestling most of my life. So Darbus wants people on her show that want to be on her show. She's somewhat buying into what Sharpay and Ryan are saying, that these other kids are there to kind of sabotage it, to make a mockery of her musicale, which by calling it a musicale kind of does it anyway. But when she realizes that Gabrielle and Troy are going to put butts in seats, she gets them. Because she thought her meal ticket was Ryan and Sharpay. She thought their talent and their family, because as we learn later on, Sharpay and Ryan fabulously wealthy. They have a ton of stuff. So they're probably having their friends bring everybody in their family. But once that they could be replaced, she saw that the true talent was Gabrielle and, the guy who's singing for Troy.
Um, all right. So before I talk on that, I want to say again, thank you for everyone who's tuning in. Usually halfway through, I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, please give us a like. If we get to 50 tonight, we'll open a Wishable because people love unboxings, and this is an OG Wishable because this is from one of the early series. But also at the end of the show, I do have a very special unboxing because I got some viewer mail that I am very excited to open up. So that'll happen at the end. It literally says on the front, "Open during Deep in the Plus." So we will do that.
Very exciting.
And thank you, Neko, for sending that in. So here's the thing, though. Because of Mrs. Darbus doing all this, and by the way, while she's singing, or while Ryan and Sharpay are singing, she's always mouthing the words as if she has watched them, you know, or been in on whatever this scam is. Like the one
she's
where,
definitely in on it. Yeah.
Yeah, where she, you know, Ryan says, "Oh, we had our pianist write up, you know, his own arrangement of this," and you know, and then she's like trying, you know, she's in the audience and like kind of moving her hands to like hit the beat.
Maybe she was their pianist who was arranging. But can we talk about Kelsi for a second here? Sure. That she's in high school, I guess sophomore, junior, and she's written how many musicals and done books and lyrics and like written songs. She should be at the Juilliard or something, not at East Albuquerque High School trying to get Sharpay and Ryan to sing her songs.
Well, I mean, she is. I think that, you know, Sharpay says about her that she is the. This is her first one she's ever written, but you're right. Like, first one they've ever written. Like, you know, oh, I'm sorry, Lin-Manuel, this is the first musical you've ever written. You know.
Get out of here within the heights.
Yeah, get out of here within the heights. Exactly. I mean, maybe we'll make it a movie someday, but not until you come up with Hamilton.
I can't wait for that movie, honestly.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. You're right that she would be, and again, that's that suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
You know, that she's there and she's making this happen, and you know, the joy is that Troy and Gabriella understand how special she is and work with her, and so she pulls for them. But you know, Mrs. Darbus lets this whole thing happen with where they change everything over to this new time. And so then they make the most unnecessary concoction of like, you know, like, and it happens so immediately. They're like, hey, look, they moved the callbacks to the same time as the big game and the big decathlon. And then Troy's like, wait, I got a great idea. And it's going to work if we all work together.
And it's definitely a felony. It is 100% a felony.
But you didn't need to do that if Mrs. Darbus was just like, no, shut up, spoiled brats. We're all going to make this equal and fair like we should be doing. Like, that's her fault.
Let's say maybe the arts are underfunded like they are in lots of places, and maybe Mr. and Mrs. Evans are writing checks to the school to keep Sharpay and Ryan in shows. Maybe she's just protecting her meal ticket.
Okay. All right, I'll allow it. I guess it's just not. It's
Thanks,
just not
Judge
cool,
Mills
man.
Lane. Oh, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. I called you Judge Mills Lane. That was his line back in the day. I'm taking it back to MTV. What, Celebrity Deathmatch? Wow.
So they do this whole thing, and the smart kids decide to, like, you know, use some, like, they hack into the school like electrical system and shut it down, and then they also, like, you know, make some big concoction that's going to, you know, smell up the room, so everybody has to leave. And then they all decide to go to the auditorium to watch callbacks.
They absolutely should have evacuated the building, not gone into the auditorium. Like, where's the leadership in this school? We see a teacher, a coach, and a principal, and literally one other teacher, the teacher that Gabrielle corrects, which is, like, it's supposed to show she's smart. It just doesn't hit right.
Yeah. By the way, one thing I missed, I was looking over my notes that I missed in the music section, is that Drew Seeley, who is the singing voice of Troy, actually was a co-writer on the song Get Your Head in the Game.
Well, Drew Seeley deserves at least one Academy Award. Maybe
just one?
Two.
Okay.
This did win all of the Cable Ace Awards, I believe.
Okay.
So
it's fine. So this movie, again, it's about the music and the song and dance. The rest of the shell that holds it together is very thin. But it was such a huge phenomenon, right? So like everyone was watching High School Musical. I was too old to watch it and watched High School Musical. You know, kids were watching High School Musical.
What was going on? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just everyone. It was kind of like it was a cultural phenomenon that everybody knew and everybody was watching. And then it spawned the sequels. They had the live tour with Drew Seeley. They had the South Park spoof, and then they had this thing. They were like, "How can we capitalize on this at Disney theme parks?"
Oh,
and they had this stage show that was a moving stage show, and the stage would move in down Hollywood Boulevard at Hollywood Studios. And Arlo Penguin Project mentioned that they had this in California Adventure as well. But the stage would come down and we'd be playing All in This Together, you know, as it would go down the street, and then they would do a big number in front of the hat at the end of the street. And then they were like, this is pretty cool. You know, when we do High School Musical 2, let's do that. But let's slap a 2 on the end of the stage. And
oh, my God.
Put everybody in their summer outfits. And they're like, we got that third one coming. Boom. High School Musical 3. Right here, right now, senior year.
So that's a better, like, they didn't just throw a tent with a 2 on it. They actually have a 3 there.
Yeah.
Because... yeah, and they have the nice stage. It's not bad. That 3 is better, but 3, I'm sure we'll get into it because I imagine I'm pot committed to this and the Herbie series now.
You have just signed on to be the Mars correspondent, the Herbie correspondent, and now the HSM correspondent.
Any Mars-based movies.
May or may not include the Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, because I'm not really sure if it's on Disney
I've not
Plus.
seen that. I have not seen it. I always like to find stuff and pitch stuff that is not actually on Disney Plus. High School Musical 3 is terrible. It's awful. Like I don't know how it all fell apart. So badly.
which is interesting because that's the one that went to the big screen. That's the one that were like, hey, we've got this franchise. We've been wasting it on Disney Channel. Let's go and make some money in the theater. And at this point, you know, Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron are kind of movie stars anyway. So like, let's make this a theater movie and like wrap this whole thing up. So yeah, that's how that happened. And then after that, so High School Musical 3 was 2008. So they did a 2006, a 2007, a 2008. They just knocked them out. Yeah. Very smart. So when all that's done, they wait until 2019, the fall of 2019, and they launch High School Musical, the series. High School Musical, the series. It was the dumbest name I'd ever heard, and I loved saying it to people because I was like, the High School Musical, the series. What were you saying?
It's literally something that we would pitch at WDWNT, like for one of our spoofs, with all the colons involved, you know? And it made no sense. And I watched, you know, I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes, and it was pretty good. It felt like High School Musical kind of smashed with Glee.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it's funny you should say Glee because that's exactly, I mean, and I think I may have mentioned that from the front, is that that's what it reminds me of, is that it's kind of Glee because they sing in moments where there should be singing. It's in drama class. It's in, you know, moments that make sense, not during basketball practice usually. But with this one, this show is very meta in the fact that it is a show where at East High, the original school, where it was shot, some woman comes in to be the drama teacher and says, it is appalling that you have never done a stage version of High School Musical here in the original school where the High School Musical was shot, and that changes today, and we're going to do High School Musical, the musical. So there was a musical that toured, High School Musical, the musical. So this was High School Musical, the series about doing a musical. Like, it's a series about doing a musical about a movie. It's so meta.
And it's still about crazy. High school. Yeah.
And it was very smartly done because it's like if you did kind of a like High School Musical, The Next Generation, where they were still all in East High and they were, I mean, in the movie version of it, it would have been completely cringy. This one steps outside and really makes a very different type of TV show.
it's really interesting the way they did that. I think what I've heard is the High School Musical, the musical of the series, is tackling Beauty and the Beast if they get a second season, which I think they were getting a second season, but then
May
the
14th,
two leads.
Dude. It's
really?
right around the corner. May
Because I
14th,
know
done.
the two leads had their little lovers quarrel that involved another Disney Channel star, which is absurd.
But when you watch the trailer for it, and I'm appalled that you didn't, when you watch the trailer for it, Olivia Rodrigo's character is like studying abroad. And so there's like a little bit of separation from that. And I don't know if that was the original plan or not. So,
it's like Sam and Diane all over again, huh?
Yeah, or Castle. Apparently there was an issue on the scene of Castle too. But yeah, so this is happening. They're doing season 2. I think that it would have come a lot sooner had it not been for COVID. True of many things. But May 14th is when this debuts. And honestly, I think this is a very watchable show, even for people who are not kids. So I mean, I'm a fan. I think it's pretty well done.
And it's a bunch of talented people again. Like Olivia Rodrigo's song is really good, and she has a great voice. And the male lead, I forget his name, also really, really good singers.
Yeah, I think although I think you're talking about Joshua Bassett, but I think Drew Seeley sings for him.
That would be the ultimate thing if they actually just dubbed him over with Drew Seeley just once to kind of play. Man, it's great that they did this show because it kind of showed the impact and like the generational cross pollination that kind of came from High School Musical, because a lot of people know about it. People, it was a family movie, and it's also based a lot for kids, but people outside of family and kids enjoyed it too. And I think, before I had a daughter, there's so much of Disney that people don't realize is really geared towards families when you think it's geared towards young people. Because there's jokes in High School Musical that might go a little bit over kids' heads. And of course, there's the will they, won't they kiss and everybody interrupting them. It crossed generational lines, and it was really a phenomenon. And the saying goes, High School Musical walked so Glee could run. But honestly, I think High School Musical, Give Me Teen Beach, and The Descendants are a million times better than what Glee produced.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So, by the way, Mr. Rondiana is in chat, and I'm very excited about that. So
he texted me. I was like, I can't answer that. I'm on the show.
Okay. So, the other thing is that, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's the other question that I always have about a movie about this, and you kind of touched on it, but I think for a different reason, is you said, looking at it through a 2020 lens, and I think you meant from a critical eye of the suspension of disbelief and, the wackiness of the whole thing. But let me ask you this, hardcore, does this match our 2021 vision of being an okay movie to share with children?
I think it's an okay movie to share with children. I don't think there's anything that really is like negative in it. They do play into the cultural clique type stereotypes, and the two of the black lead characters do eventually end up together, which we see in like Star Wars and things like that. But there's nothing offensive about it. I mean, it's just a movie that kind of plays on high school stereotypes.
Okay. So I feel like this was, I feel like this was a TikTok thing, but when I'm watching this dance that they do, this looks like it was made for TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It's like
so almost you can see, this is what I'm talking about. The dancers come up front, and although you have Zac Efron like center, you have other better dancers around him.
Yeah. But I feel like I've seen these exact same moves on TikTok. Like, I feel like they invented this is the original TikTok dance, no? They even do
might be.
They even do like these little breakout things.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Corbin Bleu deserved a much bigger career than he's had. He's had bit roles here and there. Number one, the dude is incredibly handsome and an amazing dancer, just a great dancer. He did a bunch of Disney stuff and tried to break out, but never really found his footing. He's just in High School Musical 2, his song with Ryan, When We Get There, is it's just a genuinely good song. The dude, really, really talented. I wish more people would use him. I'm surprised with all these musical shows we have around that he never fell in with anything else. Because if you look at Jordan Fisher from Teen Beach Movie, I mean, he went on to get a role in Hamilton. He's the one who sings Happily Ever After. Corbin Bleu is just as talented. I think Hollywood's missing the boat with him.
Well, and he did do Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Oh, they're all in the audience. See, that's what I like about entertainment. Like, when you're part of something so special and you embrace it and you love it and you love your your coworkers, and you're not embarrassed of the show. There's too many times that something becomes a cult favorite and the people who made it start to hate it. And that could be because fans are horrible, but it's just nice to see that the High School Musical people know where they came from, and they all seem to appreciate each other.
Yeah. So again, the TikTok thing is one thing where I was like, oh, well, did they invent like the TikTok dance? I don't know, probably not, but it does seem like they're doing a lot of TikTok dance type of stuff in there, right? The other thing that I felt like they sort of like pioneered a little bit and didn't was the post-credit scene. Where this is after the credits and Zeke's like wandering around and she walks in and yells how great the cookies are. And then she throws them on the ground after she says how good they are, and then she runs after him to the point where he gets a little scared and starts to run away. So, I mean, good for Zeke.
Yeah, but she seems to be right back at Troy in High School Musical 2, and poor Zeke's just left hanging. Like, Zeke's such a good dude, and he can bake. Like, what high school kid can make creme brulee and bake fantastic cookies like that?
Creme brulee is his passion.
Yeah, creme brulee is delicious. I had a passion fruit creme brulee once, changed my life.
Okay. I don't believe you, but all right. So anything else you want to talk to before we go to the final thoughts on this? And we're at 48 likes. If we can get, I mean, I'll split the difference.
We need 49. We need one more like, and we're actually throwing it to timekeeping after this, which is really cool.
Yeah.
This is a great movie, and I think people kind of...
Before you start getting into this, do you have any final thoughts, or are you doing your wrap-up?
This is my final thought, not my wrap-up. I don't think people give it and kind of the genre around it enough credit. These are incredibly creative songs. These are talented people. A lot of these people have shown range, like both Zac Efron and the gentleman, I forget his name, Ross something from Teen Beach Movie, have gone on to serious dramatic roles and gotten kudos for them. So this is kind of what Disney used to do back in the day. This is like, Kids Incorporated, Mickey Mouse Club. This became the next iteration of that, and this is where you're getting stars from.
Well, and I would argue you still are, because, I mean, High School Musical, the series. And
launched
what
careers.
fun was it when they had High School Musical, the series, the holiday special, or High School Musical, the series, the sing-along. I mean, so good. Such a great, funny bit that they can continue on and on and on. But anyway.
I feel like you're taking a shot at us when you're doing that.
I always thought it was funny to say, and people are like, you're lying. They're not doing a show called High School Musical, the series. And I'm like, yes, they are doing a show called High School Musical, the series. I can't say it enough. It's pretty great. So all of this is leading up to this moment, Patrick Hackett. This is it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is your reputation on the line, my friend. Would you recommend this movie?
I would absolutely recommend this movie, but I will put a small caveat. You need to watch High School Musical 2 shortly hereafter. So watch High School Musical 1, enjoy it, wet your palate, and then get into High School Musical 2 and don't watch High School Musical 3.
Okay.
That's my caveat. Yeah.
So I would don't watch High School Musical. Well, it's kind of like The Godfather. You watch 1 and 2, you got to watch 3, right? I mean, I just compared High School Musical to The Godfather.
Rightfully so.
Just at me all over the place. I really, you know, I think this is still a fun movie. I think it still stands up. It doesn't meet the bar of, I feel like you have to watch it to understand like the Disney culture or the Disney history, because it does sort of stand alone, except in the fact that I do think that this was this is the queen jewel, the crown jewel of the DCOMs. This is the one that set a pattern that would be followed by, as you said, Teen Beach Movie, Descendants. Like, this is the one that I feel like made zombies okay to do. This is the one that I think set that pattern and you know, put Kenny Ortega in a different at a different level. I think that this is the start of something new. But I would sorry, had to do that. I would recommend this movie because, again, I think it plays well. I think it stands up. There are some of these DCOMs, and there've been over 100 that I don't think stand up. You look at them and you're like, I
watched one with Bryan Cranston in it. It was a Santa Claus one. It is very bad.
Yeah, I've watched a couple, and they're not all great, but yeah. So thank you to everybody who watched and got us over to 50 likes. So we are going to open this one. Patrick, what's your guess on here?
I'm going to go with Sven.
Sven. I hope it's not Sven, because we already have Sven, but let's see what it is.
Last time I said the troll.
Woo! It's the girl. It's Anna.
Is that like Elsa. The chase?
Is that Elsa. Chase? No. There wasn't. No. This was before they invented chase. By the way,
got
with Wishables now, they're like the Guardian series that came out. With the Guardian series that came out, there are 200 Wishables.
I do not need them.
Don't you though? The next set is Star Tours, my friend. You're gonna need Star Tours. What if there's a Captain Rex? You're gonna need that. So, because we've talked about Wishables so much, our good friend and WIGS member has Neko has done such a nice thing here. So has sent this package.
Oh my God! Do you have the big barge? They have the two little barges. Do you have the circle?
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, I feel like there's a little bit of a spoiler about this. So when we started talking on Park Center, tune in tomorrow night, when we started talking about Park Center, which kind of has become Barge Center because we talk about them so much, the barges that are in the World Showcase Lagoon for the Harmonious, which is going to be the best show in the world.
Has to be.
We started talking about them. The joke came up about making Wishables, and I feel like that's what this is, because that's what Tom and Jill got. So I'm going to open this and see.
I hope it's a center barge. Come on, center barge, the big circle. Oh, you got another barge.
This is so
It's so
good.
Great.
This is
so well done.
Like the little eyes, like they have the wish.
And what's
like,
amazing
sparkles.
is it's one of one. You know, that's really amazing coming from our fans, and we really appreciate it.
Neko, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, I can't even like just the fact that like someone made this and sent it. I'm
gotta love those wigs. Let me get it in frame.
I'm just overwhelmed. Thank you so much for that, and thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, Patrick won't be here. But I have landed a very special guest for next week, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys now. Cosmic Chris Reed has agreed, because it is May the 4th, to review Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. We are going to be doing... He is going to be the Star Wars guy, Patrick. I'm sorry. You can't be...
It's okay. I don't need that many series.
Guy. You can't be the Mars guy and the Herbie guy and the High School Musical guy. You know, you got to give up somewhere.
No problem.
Cosmic Chris Reed has agreed to do... And he's a fan. Like, I searched high and low, like, for really big fans of Star Wars. He is a big fan. I cannot wait to talk about that movie on May the 4th. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, but this was a lot of fun too, Patrick. I mean, all day long. I've been so excited. I got a shirt. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to wear this shirt to work tomorrow. I've only worn it for like 5 minutes, so.
Awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Patrick. As always, you are the best, and thank your wife for letting us have you for this moment in time. And again, for Park Center tomorrow night, where we'll be talking a lot about Disneyland, I feel like. So, thank you guys. Have a great night, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.